Well, Elitsa Gadeva is with me here on set. Elitsa, these are the 8th elections, aren't they, in 5 years for the Balkan country. What's different this time?
That's right, Stuart. Well, maybe the most unexpected thing is that this is the first time in 30 years that the Bulgarian party is projected to have a majority. And this is major. Bulgarian papers are writing about it. Bulgarian commentators are saying that this will completely restructure the political picture in the country. And according to the latest data, more than 90% of the votes have been counted. And Rumen Radev's Progressive Bulgaria is leading with more than 44% of the votes. This is at least 132 seats in the 240-seat parliament. So, as we know, Bulgaria has faced a repeated political instability since 2021. Coalition governments couldn't stay in power for more than 1 year before collapsing. And it's in that context that Rumen Radev comes. He was Bulgaria's president from 2017 to 2026, supported by Bulgaria's Socialist Party, and before that he was an Air Force general, so a powerful political figure for Bulgaria. And throughout the years he has been continuously criticizing Boyko Borisov. This is the leader of the pro-European and center-right GER party that has also been blamed for the deep corruption in the country. And Radev's popularity actually grew during the anti-corruption protests in Bulgaria last year, when he kind of positioned himself as at the forefront of the resistance, saying that Bulgaria needs to get rid of the oligarchic governance model. And then on the 19th of January, he resigned from the presidency. This was very unexpected for many Bulgarians, but they saw in him someone who could break the status quo.
Elitsa, it's just a week, isn't it, since we were reporting here the end, if you like, of Viktor Orban in Hungary. And critics have called Rumen Radev Viktor Orban too, because he's seen as very pro-Russian, isn't he? I mean, explain to us what his stance on Russia is exactly.
Yeah, well, it's all a bit tricky and a bit vague. He has called for practical relations with Russia based on mutual respect and equal treatment. So let's take a look at some examples. So, for example, he criticized the 10-year defense agreement signed last month between Bulgaria and Ukraine. And although he condemns Russian invasion, he has opposed to Bulgaria supplying arms to Ukraine. At the same time, he said that he wouldn't veto any decision by the European Union, so you see there the vagueness of it all. He has called for restoring ties with Moscow and resuming Russian oil and gas flows to Europe. He says that this is the pragmatic decision and it would be cheaper for Europeans and Bulgarians. And during his election campaign, he showed images of him and foreign leaders, including some with Vladimir Putin. And in the beginning of the Ukraine war, he refused to actually call it a war, preferring the term conflict instead. And according to the Atlantic Council think tank, Radev-led government would be a significant win for Russia. In the short term, it could mean that ammunitions coming from Bulgaria to Ukraine might be stopped. And more broadly, Bulgaria could replace Hungary as Putin's proxy inside the EU after the defeat of Orban. However, the think tank says that Bulgaria is way weaker than Hungary. We know it's a smaller country, weaker economy. So according to the think tank, it's a downgrade for the Kremlin. Nevertheless, progressive Bulgaria doesn't seem that progressive at the end of the day. If we take into account the Western standards of the term, we will see how and will he fulfill his electoral promises. But for now, a clear action plan hasn't been put on the table.
Elitsa, thanks very much. Elitsa Gadeva right here on France 24.